Hello, and welcome back to Talking Truth Ministries, where my goal is to share the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, and the epitome of truth being Jesus Christ himself. So I'm going to continue with the history of the origin of the Trinity, chapter 4, 2000 BC, the Egyptians. Well, there are records that date ancient Egypt as far back as the Old Kingdom, being 2658 to 2150 BC. We will try to remain contemporary to the Assyrians of 2000 to 500 BC. This author has been to the modern city of Luxor and visited the ruins of the Temple of Karnak. The former name of the city of Luxor was given by the conquering Greeks as Thebes. We shall refer to it by this name on several occasions. The most original name given to this city was Waset, meaning the city of the scepter. There is an unusual loop in the Nile River about 500 miles south of Cairo. The river flows north at this point, and at this point turns almost perpendicularly eastward towards the Red Sea. Then it changes its course in a sharp zigzag northwest and north again, resuming its ever northward flow to the pyramids of Cairo and onto the Mediterranean Sea. In this loop area, the city of Thebes sprang up and was primarily based on the east bank. The west bank is formed by the Theban Mountains as it meets the Nile shoreline. It is also considered as the mountain that catches the sun, so it naturally became the most famous burial ground in the world. It was considered that the mountain that caught the sun also caught the spirit of each pharaoh. Consequently, hundreds of tombs are placed there, and due to the atmosphere, which is very conducive to non-deterioration, much has been preserved in its pristine state for our consideration. This area is now more commonly known as the Valley of the Kings. This author could testify that one would need to live several hundred years to examine each point of interest just to really understand the impact of these ancient concepts on our modern points of view. The stories are quite repetitive throughout the 3,000 plus years of Egyptology, which is the study of Egypt, but we do have one specific case to draw from for a good cross-section study. This is the tomb of King Tutankhamun, who lived 1333 through 1324 BC, which was discovered almost untouched on November 26, 1922. The first glimpse of King Tut, as we will call him, was observed by Howard Carter, or the first of over 3,500 artifacts were observed through a hole in the entryway on this date. This author has visited the main Cairo Museum and can attest to the claim that the entire second floor has been given over to the display of the various artifacts were removed from the tomb of King Tut. Of these various artifacts, one determines that the same threesome deity was on display here. The Egyptians had the family thing all worked out. The chief god of this area was Amun, who is known as the king of all gods. He was frequently postured as in the presence of a bull or ram. There are other references to the sun god called Re, spelled R-E. In most cases, Amun is referred to as Amun-Re, or the sun. His job was to control life, and all pharaohs were his offspring, making the pharaohs sub-deities in the eyes of the masses. The second god in the chain of hierarchy was called Mut, and was originally shaped as a vulture, but later was depicted as a human being, birth or fertility. She frequently appears in the presence of lions. The third god was called Khonsu and is considered to be the son of Amun-Re and Mut. He is postured as a lad and frequently keeps company with a hawk. Also, he is generally called the moon god or the moon. An additional note in this arena is that one more deity is a very unusual one. He is called Ptah, spelled Ptah, and is considered to be the god of creation. He hails from the city of Memphis, 500 miles to the north, and is the husband of the lioness goddess Sekhmet. In an unusual twist of deity miraculous, he superimposed himself on the original god from Memphis, Sokaris, and so had to be worshipped in the form and name of Ptah Sokaris, as he was then the only visible image of the original Sokaris. Virtually all of these gods have a solar or lunar disk on or around their heads, which denotes the family to which they are related. To summarize, the three high gods of the Egyptian pantheon were Amun-Re, or the sun, Mut, or the earth, and Khonsu, the moon. While they were one happy family, they were and are always referred to as the Theban triad. And that concludes chapter 4. Thank you for listening, and please subscribe.